with us. I don't think they need any introduction. Shashank, the captain of the team, I'm going to start with you. And I'm going to start with the most obvious question. No spoiler alert, but please tell me who thought about that ending scene, Karan or you?
No, completely me. This where I want to set it, and immediately the end was in my head. So, of course, when I shared it with Karan, he wanted to take some time to realize whether this is how it's going to go down. It's something which is very disturbing. It's also something which has pretty much never happened on Indian cinema. So he was very, very, I won't say concerned, but wanted to be sure about it. And I guess now that we are seeing the reactions to it, so I understand where his apprehensions come from, but it's also one of those ends where I'm getting the most calls about people wanting to discuss it, talk about it, a lot of people appreciating it, a lot of people almost being angry with me that why did you do it, but everyone somewhere realizing that this is reality and this is the kind of things that happen. So I think it was something which was very, very disturbing, but something which I feel is very important for the film.
And open up a discussion.
Absolutely.
It's opened up a discussion. I mean, the purpose is served.
Yeah, and I think one of the bigger reasons for me to ever want to adapt it was the fact that I felt that the regions which have not managed to see Sairat should kind of go ahead and see my film and open up the debate, because you know, everyone knows this film has a very strong underlayer of honor killing to it, and it's something which needs to be discussed because we are in 2018 and these problems still crop up in our country. And I think it's important that there is more chat about it so it can be resolved.
Were you feeling doubly responsible when you're making the remake of a big film and you're launching Janvi at the same time? Was it a big responsibility this time compared to the earlier two films? What were you exactly feeling?
No, there was no pressure of launching Janvi. There was the pressure, or rather the responsibility, was to make an honest film. I was actually never bogged down by the pressure of adapting Sairat either. For me, it was very important that Dhadak is its own film. It's a story which needs to be honest. It needs to be told with a certain sense of sincerity. And I was only focused on that. And whether it was Janvi or Ishan, for me, I was not launching them or creating something for them. For me, they were the characters, and more than me doing something for them, it was them who have to do something for the characters. They have to work doubly, triply harder to come and become part of the characters. So there was absolutely no pressure, responsibility in terms of working with them. It was more just the fact that we are creating these characters.
How much were you involved in casting her? I mean, getting into this character was so unlike the Janvi we used to see in
I
the
stopped him every day
parties
and didn't leave him with a choice.
No, as I said, once Mr. Karan Johar asked me to meet her, then it was a matter of just try to understand that, first of all, whether she is correct for the part, and then after that, what is the work we need to do to ensure that she becomes the character. So I think the first part of it was solved very easily when I realized that she already has a certain understanding of cinema, not on a, you know, what do you call, surface level of saying, oh, I love watching movies, not that. But when we were discussing movies, when we should talk about movies and when we should talk about characters, there was already an understanding of emotional graphs of how to take this character forward. So I think once that was done, then it was just about putting in the number of hours to kind of keep working on language, how to understand this character, how to break it down. She had never been to Udaipur, Ishan had never been to Udaipur, to take them there, make them see the city. Yeah,
but
sorry, he had, but not
too
seen
much
it
time,
in the sense of, from my eyes, in
Not
terms
in that
of
context.
As
what it means to kind of, you know, when you might holiday in a place, but when you go there to make a film,
become a
you
resident of
suddenly
that
see
place,
a
yeah.
different perspective of the city. So I think that was more important. That and the best part about it was I had two new people, two young kids who were ready to give me everything. They were like ready to, I think, stopping short of moving into my house, and if I told them ki you all have to live in my house, they would have done that also.
Yeah,
they would have been happily done that.
The only reason we didn't is because he didn't let us.
I didn't. So I think it was that, and I think the pleasure has been to just kind of together create these characters. I've said it a couple of times. Both the names came up on our first recce when we were out. Madhu and Parthavi are names that came out of Udaipur. So I think this journey has been very fulfilling for us on you know, multiple layers. Personally, getting to know each other, getting to spend so much time with each other, and then to go ahead and make the film we did.
You are right. She's a movie buff because I was at her house and she was watching.
I don't know. I think there's a strange fascination. I actually don't think it's very strange. I think there was so much beautiful cinema even now, but there's an intrigue that I have, especially with artists from that time and the kind of world that they created. And I actually think that they were much more progressive in terms of the kind of themes that they tackled, and the way that they approached cinema. I think they were way ahead of their times. And I don't know, I think I always kind of felt like I was born in the wrong era. There's just something very beautiful about these actors and the stories that they create.
We are making a time machine for him.
So I'm sure you're going to bring it back. But tell me honestly, did you sleep on Thursday when the movie was just around the corner?
Yeah, Thursday I slept. Thursday I slept quite well because we had a screening that night that went off really
Rather
nicely. Yeah, rather well, and was overwhelming actually. So
That's
I
a
slept
British
with.
touch in this
Yeah.
interview.
Not well.
So yeah, I slept with a very good feeling.
Ishan,
woke
you?
up to
Were you
release.
nervous? I mean, Beyond the Clouds you were fab, but the movie didn't go the way it should have. I mean, were you nervous?
On Thursday night,
Yeah, about
like she
that.
said, we had a wonderful screening where a lot of people, friends and family, some film personalities saw the film. And yeah, it was that particular night I've slept well. But in general, I don't think I was nervous with either one of these films. I think there's a nervous energy before it releases. There's curiosity, but there was never anxiousness as to what the fate of the film would be. That's not in my hands as an actor. And I think because I was that unprepared for it, I'm all the more grateful now when people are going out in hordes to watch this film, appreciating it, making it their own, rewatching it. So I'm very grateful. I'm ecstatic, honestly, that people are loving the film so much.
Janvi,
Yes.
when you read the reviews, what was your reaction?
Which reviews saw? I'll
You
answer
didn't read?
accordingly.
Multiple reviews.
Multiple reviews.
Reading some reviews was overwhelming. It made me feel good, and it was encouraging. Other reviews made me question a lot about myself, and to be honest, I felt quite bogged down. But I think after speaking with Shashank and Karan and even Ashan, I don't know, you just have to keep going and keep using it as motivation to do better, to do more, and to give more. And I think what matters most is you take the positives and you make something good out of it, and you try to work on yourself.
What exactly did you tell her?
What did I tell her? I mean, I just, it can be very, if you don't know from what perspective the reviews are coming from, it can be very damaging to you.
Yeah.
So I think I just told her that you don't have to, you have to respect them. Firstly, you have to respect every review that comes out, because these are people who have taken time out and watched your movie, and it's very important you respect that. And then you need to take it as a stepping stone to become better, learn. When you read so many things, there are a lot of things you agree with, there are a lot of things you do not agree with, and you need to then train yourself, train your wisdom to kind of say that the ones that I agree with, I'm going to work on those things, and the ones I don't agree with, I'm not going to use them. But it's very important to have respect. But also what is very important is to not let things bog down, because your process of growing as an artist never stops. It stops with a successful film. There are going to be days when she will be appreciated by everybody for her performance, and maybe that film does not do any business. And there are many artists in the history of cinema who are going to say that. So you really need to get back to your process. You really need to go back. In fact, I remember the one thing telling her that I hope you've gotten back to your classes. I hope you're doing this, because that's what you're going to kind of keep doing back, and whether it is Ishan, whether it is Janvi, whether it is me, all we can do is go back to our process. We cannot change what has happened. We cannot, we do not want to overthink it, but we want to keep it as part of our subconscious, keep working on it, and hopefully with the next one we'll become better.
Janvi, you had such a tough role, I would say. I mean, such a long graph in the whole movie. Which was your most challenging scene?
Most challenging scene. You know the scene, again, without trying to give it away, but when she's cooking food and in the first take we got it, and then after that I couldn't do it again. And
The fight between the two of you.
the first
fight
confrontation.
and the inside the
The
thing.
first confrontation where it's like a build-up of frustration, and she lets it out and she takes it out on him.
That I can't meet my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we.
मैंने उदयपुर वापस जाना.
Yeah. And I think we got it in the first take, and then we had to change angles, and I just couldn't. It wasn't coming the same way again.
Ishan, you?
So I
Now
think,
we have seen it all, so you can go ahead.
I think it was a moment in the second half at Prinsep Ghat, which I wouldn't say, I mean, I wouldn't say any one scene was more challenging or less challenging, but that scene was, the depth of it and the gravity of that moment in the film was so large, it was so deep that I think it felt very emotionally taxing, that scene. It was a big, it was sort of like a catharsis for the characters, but also because of the schedule in which we were shooting, it became very, like, it was a very big moment for both
but I
of us.
remember we were feeling, it was a good feeling after we.
It was a very good feeling after we got done
did
with
that scene.
it.
We felt. I remember
But
you
actually,
came and you hugged
very
us.
satisfying.
I think, honestly, sir, maybe I feel, I'm talking about that scene because there's a lot of guilt in that scene for Madhu's character, and carrying that emotion and the baggage of that emotion, it's a very heavy feeling. So that I think was very, challenging.